Hello, it's Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian here. Welcome back to this review channel. Come for the reviews, stay for the quirky self-awareness, and don't, whatever you do, forget to subscribe and leave a comment. Ryan Coogler is the filmmaker and hitmaker who started in social realism with his debut Fruitvale Station, became the Wakandan emperor of superheroism with Black Panther, and put some punch back into the Rocky franchise with Creed. Now he dials up the machismo and the craziness with Sinners, this gonzo horror thriller mashup, a spectacular, if more than faintly hubristic movie, appropriately named, though there are one or two saints dotted around, set in the pre-war Deep South.
Listen here, this ain't no house party.
Y'all ready to drink? Y'all ready to sweat till y'all stink?
You want some?
You keep dancing with the devil. One day he's gonna follow you home.
It's a freaky tale of supernatural evil and the blues that indirectly takes its inspiration from the legend of Mississippi bluesman Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil at a remote crossroads in return for fame and fortune. And it's also, in its forthright way, a riff on the idea of the blues as a kind of music which is avidly consumed by its producer's enemies. As Delroy Lindo's character says here, white folks like the blues fine, just not the people who make it. Singer-songwriter Miles Caton makes his acting debut as Sammy, a preternaturally gifted teen blues guitarist and singer, who's also, in Dusty Springfield's immortal words, the son of a preacher man. Sammy's the cousin to two twin scoundrels and sharp-dressing dandies, Elijah and Elias Smoke, both played, with some presence, by Michael B. Jordan. These two have been mixed up in gang warfare in Chicago, where they were apparently working for Al Capone himself, and now they've returned to their home turf in triumph with a ton of money, which they hope to invest in their own juke joint, with young Sammy bringing in the crowds using his amazing music. But then one of the twins' ex-lovers shows up, Mary, played by Haley Steinfeld, who's admitted to the joint on sufferance. But there's also a sinister white country singer called Remick, gurningly played by Jack O'Connell. He has a fondness for Irish tunes, and as night falls, the forces of darkness and the evil undead close in. In some ways, this is a new version of Robert Rodriguez's 90s white head trip From Dusk Till Dawn, scripted by Quentin Tarantino, with George Clooney and Tarantino as the two brothers holed up in a grisly saloon down Mexico way, under threat from satanic bandits. Tarantino and Rodriguez responded to irony and anarchy, but that isn't exactly how Coogler plays this film tonally. For almost the first half, it's pretty much a realistic period adventure in the pre-war South, in which the twins' outlaw anti-heroism functions in a believable world. They are the bad guys, and yet we can't help but notice the good in them, or at least the understandable survival instinct, and then the real demons show up, which makes these real-world issues irrelevant. Now, for many, the movie could as well do without the supernatural element, and I have to admit, I'm one of them. I would prefer in my heart to see a real story with real jeopardy work itself out. But there's such energy and comic book brashness here, and a notable real-world cameo in the post-credit sting. And now it's time for that lovely semi-regular feature on this channel, in which, while browsing and musing in the wildflower meadow of filmic culture, we chance across something fragrant. Yes, it's Serendipity Corner. Last year saw the centenary of Columbia Pictures, founded by Harry Cohn and formally instituted as such in 1924, and I in fact vlogged from last year's Locarno Film Festival, which included a special Columbia retrospective curated by that outstanding film historian Ehsan Goshbakht, entitled The Lady with the Torch. Now Columbia have released this special Blu-ray collection of classic Columbia pictures, including Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence, for which I have contributed a special introductory essay, having been invited to do this, if I may say so, by the director himself. The collection also includes that marvellously gritty satire of the political pork barrel, All the King's Men, from 1949, adapted from the novel by Robert Penn Warren, by its director Robert Rossen, and starring Broderick Crawford as Willie Stark, a popular street fighter who stands for state governor just after the Second World War, demanding an end to corruption and cronyism. He loses, gets a law degree, stands again with the assistance of slippery and duplicitous power brokers that he only realises partway into his campaign are actually working for the incumbent and have drafted him in as a semi-plausible candidate to split the opposition vote. Humiliated and embittered, yet educated in the brutal ways of politics, Willie stands a third time, amplifying the reckless and rabble-rousing rhetoric that he's discovered he has in him, and achieves power. Now hardened and corrupted, he hires the idealistic journalist who's been following his campaign and turns him into a muckraking blackmailer to pressure his opponents, and he also seduces the journalist's girlfriend. And yet, fascinatingly, he is still focused on the principled things he wanted to achieve for the people, the schools and the hospitals, paid for by taxing the rich. Here's some of his classic breakthrough hick speech in his hometown.
My friends, I have a speech here. It's a speech about what this state needs. There's no need in my telling you what this state needs. You are the state and you know what you need. You over there, look at your pants. Have they got holes in the knees? Listen to your stomach. Did you ever hear it rumble for hunger? And you, what about your crops? Did they ever rot in the field because the road was so bad you couldn't get them to market? And you, what about your kids? Are they growing up ignorant as dirt, ignorant as you, because there's no school for them? No, I'm not going to read you any speech. But I am going to tell you a story. It's a funny story, so get ready to laugh.
What's he up to?
Get ready to bust your sides laughing, because it's sure a funny story. It's about a hick. A hick like you, if you please. Yeah, like you. He grew up on the dirt roads and the gully washes of a farm. He knew what it was to get up before dawn and get feed and slop and milk before breakfast and then set out before sunup and walk 6 miles to a one-room slab-sided schoolhouse. Oh, this hick knew what it was to be a hick, all right. He figured if he was going to get anything done, well, he had to do it himself. So he sat up nights and studied books. He studied law because he thought he might be able to change things some. For himself and for folks like him. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. He didn't start off thinking about the hicks and all the wonderful things he was going to do for him, no. No, he started off thinking of number one. But something came to him on the way. How he could do nothing for himself without the help of the people, that's what came to him. And it also came to him with the powerful force of God's own lightning back in his home county when the school building collapsed because it was built of politics, rotten brick. It killed and mangled a dozen kids. But you know that story.
And in that speech, you can glimpse the man and his daughter that are going to reappear later in the film when Stark's boozy, college-age son tragically gets her involved in a drunk driving accident. Stark is partly based on the populist-fascist hybrid Huey Long, who was state governor of Louisiana during the Depression. But watch the film again right now, and you can see who else he clearly resembles. Partly, of course, he's like Orson Welles' Citizen Kane, without the newspaper empire, though willing and able to attack and contain press criticism. And there's a scene where he tries to suppress a very Kane-esque newsreel. He's a little like Andy Griffiths' country boy huckster politician Larry Rhodes in Elia Kazan's A Face in the Crowd. He also has touches of Joe Kennedy, Richard Nixon, and Bill Clinton. And in that final murderous scene at the Capitol, he's like a bargain basement Julius Caesar. But who else does he obviously resemble? When he tells the crowd that his controversies only underscore his integrity, it's not me they're after, it's you. And then, when there's an impeachment hearing at the state capitol, Stark encourages his mob of supporters to turn up, to bully and intimidate the representatives into supporting him. Like the January the 6th insurrectionists, there's a huge amount of Trump in Stark. Broderick Crawford has a glorious non-film star face in this film, like Ernest Borgnine, an everyman face that the screen enlarges to Mount Rushmore heroic proportions. It's the kind of face that Hollywood or streaming TV doesn't encourage these days, unless it's Paul Walter Hauser. And the same goes for Mercedes McCambridge playing Sadie, the hardened political operative whose heart is also broken by philandering Willie and who feels that having smallpox as a kid has made her ugly. And all these people move through amazing real-world crowd scenes, the camera flowing with such energy and style. This is the kind of high political, idealistic / cynical movie that hasn't been fashionable in Hollywood for many a year. You might compare this to Michael Ritchie's The Candidate from 1972, or even George Clooney's The Ides of March from 2011. But here there's a very different ambiguity. It isn't a matter of Willie Stark gradually losing his innocence, rather shifting radically to realpolitik and cynicism as a means to an end, and his principles staying, interestingly, constant. It's an incredible film. And that's it. Please give this vlog a like and a share. Please subscribe and leave a comment. And please buy my book, The Body in the Mobile Library and Other Stories. Details given below. See you next time.